There it is. We're live on Instagram. Well, holy bagoli.
I'll act like I took some part of that, Victor. I did not.
You did great. You're in moral support here. Where's my buttons? This is the one. How much time did I have left on this SD card? Hopefully enough.
Time will tell.
This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
What in the podcast studio? I just never know what's going to come out of my own mouth. Your face is like, whoa! We're just going down NASCAR lane here, right out of the gate.
The look on your face.
I thought I was going to say it too.
What am I going to say?
What am I doing here?
It feels good to be back. I haven't been down here in a while. It's been all virtual for me recently.
Yeah, and Greg also has been virtual, and he's traveling for work. I think he's in Texas right now.
Yeah, he just landed in Texas earlier today.
So I imagine he might pop in the comments or the calls, or I didn't send him the invite because I was like, well, you don't want to do this while you're at a hotel or whatever you're doing.
He's got other fish to fry tonight.
Yeah, fish fry sounds great. I feel good. We're at the end of January. Just got back from 2 weeks in Vegas. Last week was SHOT Show.
Big SHOT Show week for you.
Overwhelming. I think it's the third largest show in Vegas.
Wow.
I don't know.
And that's saying something.
It was big. People have said it's big, and now I understand. I just was like, oh, holy shit. They're the whirlwind.
So they have, is it like one massive convention center, or is there like wings and
two
different
convention
rooms?
centers? And I think the Venetian Convention Center is like 5 floors of conventions.
Holy shit.
And all very large, like, and then you got to go across this bridge across the road, and you get to what's it called? Caesar's Forum. And then there's a bunch more conventions or conference. I don't want to call them conferences. They're colossal. They're narrow too. Dude, some of these booths were like bigger than some office buildings with 3 stories, conference rooms, meeting rooms. I was just like, what? Like, what is this?
Is this a Shields in the convention center? Is this a Cabela's?
It was wild, man. It was like, I think some of these booths cost like close to $1 million, or like at least $1 million to exhibit there in totality. It's stupid.
Wow.
How much? I think it said the revenue that SHOT brought to Vegas's economy was like $88 million for those couple of days.
Yeah, that's a couple levels up from what we're used to at
the number of brands that I saw that I've never heard of, don't know about, still not sure who the hell they are, that had enough money to fund $1 million like exhibits or
yeah, that's good.
I was like, what?
Where is this coming from?
Like, what is happening? Like,
there does seem to be, like, we were talking about it before, but the Switch, and like I've watched some videos of like reviews of ATA. Bowhunting.com had a little like recap video, and overall it seemed like it was lackluster. Like,
I've heard that also.
Bow companies aren't releasing new bows at it really anymore because it doesn't make sense with the market, and things just aren't happening the way they used to. And SHOT kind of is taking that action that maybe used to be there, and
they did
at least
spin off an archery
grabbing
wing
some
or
of it.
forum. We did walk that too. It wasn't. I mean, just that alone wasn't nearly what ATA is.
Yeah.
But wow, it's a step because, and it's not so much that they're going to do it better than it's that like, man, I don't want to do both. I don't want to build a booth twice or pay to get it built twice, travel from this part of the country to that part of the country, back to back, basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's stressful. But if you could just do one, you would do SHOT because there's more there. There's more opportunity. There's more other things happening to justify it. So if most of the ATA exhibitors end up at SHOT, I think that's where it'll go. And honestly, SHOT, as a media person, treated us, I mean, like, way better than, like, wildly different experience as a media person. So
in a good way,
in
right?
a good, very good way.
Sounds like things were going
Dude,
well.
It was complicated to get into, like, oh, you're not supposed to be on the floor today, blah blah. I was like, dude, at SHOT. We were there the whole thing because there's just as many media people as there were exhibitors.
Which is, I guess, the best mix you could have, right?
Yeah.
It's like the proper buck-doe ratio.
Yeah. Who is and I don't have it on the screen. I'm sorry, so I might be distracted from time to times, but I think it's Katie K10 on YouTube said she must have been there or knows about it. 14 miles worth of
wow
halls of exhibits, 500,000 from one booth in the past. That's crazy. Yeah. Anyway, so no, well, I'm happy to be back. I'm still kind of like get my bearings. I think. Oh yeah, it's Tuesday because we're in the studio.
That does help.
It's like I don't know what day it is, but yeah. So anyway, shout out to Half Rack for being a presenting sponsor. Use code OHP 15% off. We will be announcing our new sponsors. I think I can probably let one out of the bag because I think they officially signed today. We're gonna be working closely with Rack Hub, and I'll wait to announce the other one because like we want to make a concerted combined joint effort. But the Rack Hub one's kind of cool.
I'm excited to try out some of their products, and maybe we can put together a couple little videos of how to do some stuff with sheds or Euro mounts. Because
it's just said it's memories, and oddly enough, the perception I had of Rack Hub was prestigious, not elitist, but like of a higher echelon of caliber of like whatever. And after talking with TJ, who runs it, he's like, I think we just worked with really high-end content creaters.
Yeah, because their stuff
and we got really polished stuff. And he's like, but really, like you could drill a hole in this and put it on, and a lot of guys have memories, or maybe, you found the shed of a buck you then later killed. And so you could put those sheds on the wall next to that same buck and have that progression. So like there's a number of use cases. And the big thing he said, he's like, there's a reason these bucks are in the basement and not upstairs. And my wife is that reason. And it's because they have eyeballs and skulls. And she's like, I don't want the animals upstairs. I want them. You can have them down there. And so if you wanted to find a way to get more antler in your house and be in places where you could appreciate it, this is a way to do so and still get the blessing from the decorator of the family.
Having that upper echelon of media creators makes it easier for the average guy, because if you go on their website, like we looked at it together and I was like, dang, like this stuff, that's pretty high end for the
We're going to bring them down a little bit.
But you can show that to your significant other and they're going to be like, wow, our house is going to look like that after we put some sheds. Let's do it.
Pretty great. So yeah, excited to work with those guys. And then they do a lot with shed season. I talked about last week, we're going to get a contest going. It'll have something to do with finding the smallest sheds in the field for the duration. So look for more to come there. I think it'll be a fun collab. We've never really participated in the shed rally scene.
Mm-hmm.
This will be our way to do so, and I think an engaging way. You can't. The working class guys, Kurt and them, they say you can't trip into a 150, and they say, but like you're not going to just. Well,
into it.
You can trip over a 150 when you're shed hunting, but you can't trip over an Okayest antler.
Yeah, this is tough. The little ones, the best.
The roles are reversed.
Yep.
I think. Anyway, Latitude has launched a number of new like products and such in lieu of like ATA. So be on the lookout for those guys with things. I think they got to work on some inventory stuff. I'm just gonna fix this. It's not charging. Oh no! Come on now! Don't be mean to me. Oh. And I put out a post-season video on YouTube because people are like, how do these carbon series speed sticks work? In the rain, how is the standoff distance from the tree? What are they allowed? How do they stack? And I went through all that stuff, and I just can't say enough good things about it. It's almost like when people become a saddle hunter, they don't shut the hell up about it, or like go on a keto diet, or they're in CrossFit. It's like that same camp. I'm like that with just the sticks.
It's like, what's the hardest part of running 5 marathons? Fitting it into every conversation.
Yes.
It's kind of the same thing.
That's the hardest part about owning the Latitude sticks, not talking about them.
I
just bring them with me. I could because they're light enough.
I'm pretty much, you know me, I'm a bit more particular with some of my stuff, and I like what I like. And we got the sticks, and I was super grateful to get them. But I was like, these will be great backups, or like, when my kids get older. And then we played with them, and I took them on a few hunts, and they went with me on every hunt the rest of the season after I used them.
That's awesome.
So I was even using them late season.
You were hard selling your butt in now.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Kodo HP over there too, save you some money. And Spartan Forge, I talked with Bill today. I can't speak to it too much other than like there's some shit coming down the pike. I can't have any specifics. Hopefully, and I know how dev goes. It takes time. So you might say, hey, it's going to be ready in a week or two, and it might be a month. It's just how that kind of stuff works. And it's going to be dropping for beta, folks, first. So anyone that was in the first run of beta when they first launched everything, they're going to get their hands on this new piece of technology that they're deploying. And I've never seen anything like it. I literally have never seen anything even like it at all.
You got a demo today? When you talked to Bill, did you get to see a little bit?
Bill was like...
Sneak peek?
He was like the nerdiest I've ever seen him, which is saying a lot because he's pretty nerdy anyways. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You could just tell that he was super, super excited about it. And I was like, it's just really cool. It's something for us as outdoorsmen, hunters, that like will serve us in a way that nothing else can. I'll tell you more later.
Humor.
Yeah, I won't tell it on a thing, but just, boy, if you're not in their free version, go get in the free version, go download it, kick the tires. If you want to use our code OHP, it'll save you 20% for your annual subscription, but you have to go redeem that on the website first. And then when you open the app, you'll be good to go, which I think is how everyone does it. I think Onyx does the same shit. You got to redeem that shit on the website first. I just think there's a separation between like app and billing and Apple Pay and all that jazz. I'm learning more about that as we finish up our app for the Outland stuff. Which brings me to my topic a little bit today, which is, and phone lines are open. So I do want to say, if you want to call in, I want to talk about public land hunting. And I don't even know what that means yet. I don't have like a way to steer this conversation out of the gate other than when the genesis of Okayest Hunter, it used to be Where to Hunt. And the tagline of the show was the public land, fuck was it? The podcast for public land hunting enthusiasts.
Yes.
And it was all centered around an application that allowed hunters to define or like see what the access, what am I trying to say? Identify where occupied and unoccupied land based on other active users.
When you were going into a place, your idea was like, is there a bunch of other guys already hunting here, or is this a place where I'm not going to run into anybody? Very cool idea for kind of figuring out occupancy.
Had some cool features for a minute. They're like, if another hunter, you would set a perimeter. You would say, okay, alert me if another hunter gets within a radius of, 100 yards from me or 200 yards from me. And it would vibrate. You'd pull it up and it'd say, refresh your app. A new hunter is in your area. Boom, refresh. There's a new dot. And I'm like, I don't know who this person is. There's literally another hunter here now. Holy cow.
Somebody's doing a deer drive for me. Get ready.
Really neat. And the thing I was trying to solve then was access. I got tired of doing the red flashlight game or the whistle on the tree stand or getting busted by someone else, or me feeling like I was the one busting someone else's hunt. Like I'd pull up, there's cars there. I'm like, damn it, I know they're back here, but I don't know where. I mean, I've literally walked over sleeping bodies on the way to the stand before.
That to me is the worst feeling, is like when you say you got limited amount of time running out after work and like you have one place you can get in, it's just going to work out.
Yep.
And you pull up, and it was like the hunt you filmed with Jace, right? One of the first. We'll see how it goes. And you're like, as long as there's not a truck there, we'll be good. If there is a guy there, and then you pull up, and sure as hell, there's a guy there. And that feeling of like, I don't think I'm gonna bother anybody, but as soon as you get the whistle, and I've got it before, right? Somebody whistles, and all of a sudden you're like, it's like that is worse than bumping a deer. Like I just feel like, I just ruined somebody's plan. Yeah. Like I just met. Yeah. It's the worst feeling ever. I hate it.
Yeah, the one time I brought my wife Holly with me, we walked into a public property during a pack ram, so I thought I was in good shape because it's pre-COVID, like when the NFL was still strong and people didn't think the games were fixed or whatever was going on. I don't know. And I was like, well, I don't care. I'm going to go hunt. And we got to this property and we walked in. I'm like, let's go over here. And got whistled at. Go over here. There's someone on the other edge of the field. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't find anywhere to sit. And I'm like with my wife, I'm like, this is how it always is. I'm like, yeah. Well, if they had my app, and it was in beta testing, then I was like, there must have been 400 people on the app in beta, and I was like, but it wasn't working, and the real version wasn't updating properly, so no one else could see it. Anyone else was buying. So they're like, this app's probably a piece of shit. I look on the back end. I was like, there's 400 people in here now, and I can't see each other. Then I was like freaking out. I was like, going on with my dev team, like, you gotta fix this shit. This is ludicrous. Like, I can't believe it. I was so excited to see that it was actually being used, but then I was like equally pissed that no one's getting the experience they were supposed to get. So that app has been deprecated. It was built on shitty servers in a shitty way. With I didn't know what I was doing. Just straight up didn't have a clue. I just want to get a product out there and see what happens. So we got 70,000 downloads on it, and it was like a thing for half a minute there. And then I just stopped paying to keep it relevant because you had to keep investing to keep it relevant with the new phones that are getting released and all that stuff. So it's being rebuilt. It's about to be like, I think within the next week or two, I might be able to have everyone that, might be in a close circle of me to try it out.
Cool.
You have to download a thing called, I think it's called Expo, which is a way to get the code on your phone in a native way without having to put it into the app stores. So it's kind of like some of the product called Test Flight that Apple uses. And in doing so, we can get some tire kicking testing, get the bugs squashed out. I want feedback, and hopefully we can launch by turkey season. And it'll be different than the first version. I don't mean to take this whole episode to talk about this. That's not what I'm trying to do. But it'll have a heat map component where anyone that's ever logged into the app will dump into a database. That database will inform a heat map where you can get an idea of what the hunting pressure looks like. So it does keep that anonymousness, whatever that word might be.
Anonymity?
Yeah, like the Nemo. So that way, you don't have to worry about people like picking off your exact coordinates of where your spot might be. It's going to be a little bit more abstracted or like zoomed out. So like it's not going to be a pinprick on the map. It'll be like a quarter. So and that quarter might represent a square mile or two or something like that.
Cool. I didn't realize that you guys were getting that close.
Yeah, it's been Joe who does that is the one working everything, and until it's done, I don't have much of a job to do. I'm a marketer. I'm like, I don't have a product to market yet. But I think it's coming at a time where there's like a tipping point that I've noticed. There's not a single conversation I don't hear when I listen to Hunter podcast, the Hunting Public guys, everywhere. Seek One is like, oh, I think I've perpetuated this problem, or now there's all these people doing this thing, or the Hunting Public, and they come into an area, it blows up a spot. If people watch the reviews and they pick out the fucking background in the trees, much like a fishing spot would do. Like, I know that house, I know that dock, I know where those bass are. And when the app launched back in the early days in like 2014, and then I arrived it in 2016, people are like, first, they were like, I'm not bringing my phone in the woods, so that's all changed. Then they were like, what was it like? I don't want to share my spot. Someone's gonna someone might know where I hunt, and I think that's still relevant. But the Dan Infelts of the world that have crossed rivers in their underwear, like there's truly here. Maybe I got some inspiration from that guy. Have made it so like there's no more untouched spots. Like you might think you're the most badass hunter in the world, and you're going off the grid, and then boom, you look up, there's a cell cam. Like there's not a lot of untouched spots anymore on public.
No,
like
next to none.
Leases are being consumed. People are buying land. It's forcing others to go hunt public. It's getting really, really, really crowded. Even though there's less of us, it's a really weird problem that I don't fully understand either, because
it's definitely just changed in some almost unforeseeable ways. I would say just how people are using the land, and like you watch the Hunting Public videos. I've always been a big fan, and I don't think they even say what state they're hunting in.
They've redacted it to the best of their ability,
which I totally understand, because like they're not, and they're conscientious people, so they're watching out. Like it's not to necessarily cover their own tracks, but they don't want to blow up spots for the local guys that do hunt those properties, because they meet local people in the parking lots and whatnot, and like they're at least nice enough where they're not trying to get out of staters or whoever to like be like, oh, this is where they go, I gotta go there, and now that spot's kind of overpopulated for the local guys who hunt there all the time, and that's kind of their backyard spot. Not that anybody has their own spot, but you know how it is. Like people have their areas, and that's
within
what
a
they
local
like to
proximity. I have some areas, and I like the local nature of that proximity, because like I can just scoot right over there real quick, and if they blow up some spot that I might think is secretive, then it's not. It's just not. There's so many people, dude.
That's just nature, though. We always have like, oh, found the spot, nobody knows about it.
Oh,
somebody knows about it.
Someone's been back now, but also spots change, and deer move through them for different reasons at different times. Like the food might be popping, the does might be popping, the rut might be like so just because you were there once and it was good doesn't mean like in 2 weeks it will be. There's just so much, there's so many dynamics to it all. But the narrative of public land hunting, it was like this badge of honor. Public land owner, I'm hunting public land DIY. And I've said, you probably heard me say this at some point. Like my dad and I've hunted public land our whole lives because we just didn't have private land. It wasn't like a badge of honor. We actually would have preferred to hunt private land. We didn't have any.
And it was like kind of the same with that. Like all of a sudden, it's cool to be public land. Like, okay. Because like we,
yeah,
you and I both grew up doing the same thing in almost some of the same places.
Yep.
And like the mobile hunting thing was like, oh,
I've been
wait,
doing that.
What are other guys doing?
Yeah.
Like, there's a way to do this without. And don't get me wrong, we've hunted from preset stands, but like preset like a week before, and then like you hunt it, take it down. Oh, they weren't doing that, and move it over here, and constantly carrying the stuff back in. And it's cool to see that like people have found value in that.
Yeah.
Right. Like that is a cool thing to see. We're not just bashing on like.
Correct. That's how it is. But the narrative has evolved over time. In the 20 years or so I've been hunting, it's like it was. I wish I had private. I still wish I had private. Like I'm not. Don't get it twisted. I'm not that damn proud. I don't know. That's a different game. But none like the public stuff is like, yeah, has it become so crowded? Are the states managing it properly? I don't know. There's some opinions out there that would say otherwise, that they're not. And that like R3, which is recruit, reactivate, retain, to get more hunters in, there's a narrative of like, now that is a problem because they don't have anywhere to go. Like, so when I say access, I don't mean like literally where do I access this property. I mean like the amount of land that might be huntable. And I don't know, those that don't know, or maybe those some do, I don't know to what extent, but we are a 2% certified brand, which means we give 1% of our total revenue, which every year is growing. So that's getting more fun to cut that check.
Ouch.
I was like, oh shit, a lot more than the year before it was. It's 1%. Okay. Well, cool, we're doing good, I guess. We donate to Waukesha County Land Conservancy, and we do it very locally because we're very small and we're local right here. So as we earn more, we'll be able to do more. But currently 1% is going to Waukesha County Land Conservancy, and they take that money, they buy private property and allow public access for hunting.
And so for all kinds of stuff.
And all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like all
just public recreation. I mean, there's
morel mushroom
tons
hunting,
of people
bird
out
watching,
there.
You can
hike and walk.
Shed hunt. Like all of their properties are available for all like basic recreation. Not all are available for hunting. Quite a few are. Some have a draw. Some are open access. They're beautiful properties. And those are like quote unquote secret spots almost. Just because it's limited. Like it's not as crowded. It's limited access. But it's access nonetheless. And so like for me, we're a brand that's giving back to the very problem we're talking about in a very small way. But we're trying, and it's what we can do for now.
The secret. Sorry, say
no. I like to know that our dollars are going to something that we give a shit about.
Yeah, which is a huge deal. And
conservation is what it is.
The public piece is such a big piece to just the general public because not everyone has access, right, to the private piece. And there are plenty of people who do, and that's great, whether that's through family or through financial situation, can afford to pay out because leases are going nowhere but up. But one of the biggest changes that I've seen is obviously like the use of these basically digital plat books, right? So like before, to seek out public land, especially in the area where we live now, say the southern half of Wisconsin, which is a more metropolitan, more populated area, the public pieces were like harder to find. It wasn't vast tracts. So like little pieces that like we may now access because we have on our phones through whatever app or Spartan Forge shows you where it is. Before that, you had to do some work. So like you had to either go to the courthouse, get the plat book, buy the plat book, or like have some way of determining what is public and what is open to hunting, when now it's so easy and there's not a person that you run into in the woods that doesn't have mapping application.
Access has been easier because we have technology, but because it's easier, the amount of people accessing it has increased.
And on that same note, just be careful, any of the new guys out there, just because a piece of property is marked public on these apps does not mean it is open for hunting. So you really got to be careful because on like every state's got their own, like we have Wisconsin Rut Report and a couple different hunting like social media sites, but you'll see guys posting screenshot of like a city property and saying like, anybody been out here? How's the hunting? And it's like, that is not open for hunting. Don't go out there with your weapon. You're going to get in trouble. Like, bad idea.
We've called the DOT for DOT land, because even though it's labeled potentially public and it says DOT, like every little plot is a little bit different. And a lot of it has to do within the city limits. So sometimes you have to call your local municipality and talk to.
Yep.
In some cases, I had to talk to 2 different heads of the city because neither knew. And I was like, what? I'm a ping pong. Like, you said to talk to him, he said to talk to you. Like, guys, I'm talking to the only 2 people that should know what this is, and neither of you have an answer for me.
And there's sketchy properties like that.
Then what do you like? I don't know. It's interesting. And we found some city ordinances on other properties where someone said you're trespassing. I'm like, the hell I am. I printed off the ordinance. Look at that.
Yeah.
Which
is good to cover your tracks. It's better to know than not to know.
Like it says right here, and here's the map, and here's the city ordinance, blah, blah, 289 says this is permissible.
I came across a pretty interesting one not very long ago. I think it was just before Christmas. I was driving by this piece of property on my way to work, and I was looking to do some late season bow hunting.
Yep.
And it's public on the map, but it said like what it was labeled at was not like county land. It wasn't city. It was some kind of government land, but it was a big chunk of land. So I had to figure out if they allow hunting here. So I like emailed the police chief of that township, and I got the weirdest answer. I got like, yes, there is. I can permit you to hunt there and give you permission if you can tell me who the property owner is, who owns that property, and that you have permission there. And I was like, well, I've seen guys out there hunting before. So I was like, I'm just trying to figure out what the story is. And he's like, yeah, so you'll have to figure out who the property owner is and then get back to me. And I'll tell my deputy that you're out there and it'll be okay. And I was like, this sounds like a little roundabout loophole way for somebody's buddies to be able to get out there without normal public access. So I was like, there's probably more of these than you think there are. Because it was like, no straight answer.
What's the passcode? What's the security word?
Yeah, you can hunt there if you only shoot does.
Interesting. We have some calls.
Good. I'd love to hear what it's like in other states, other places, or other experiences.
Bryce, you're live on the show. How's it going, man?
Hey, obviously my name is Bryce. Derek, I was the guy with the Okayest sticker on the white pickup truck when you were a muzzleloader.
Hey, buddy, how you doing, Bryce?
Good. I actually was wanting to call in for a little while and, mention that event of us, me running into the Okayest crews and the Ghost Bucks guys.
Yep.
Am I getting their name right?
Yeah, you are. That's our buddy, Bo.
I'd like to say that running into, that crew and you guys was a great experience on public land. I've had a lot of experiences where running into hunters on public land, they'll ask me, questions and stuff like that. And I think it's our job as hunters. It's obviously not our spot. It's public land, and us ourselves as hunters want other people to have success as well and share the land. So while I was out there, we had another pheasant hunter come up to us, and they were like, well, have you been seeing any birds? So we gave him some areas where we were seeing birds, and we sat around for about 10 minutes, strategizing how we can hunt together as well.
That's awesome.
So you didn't tell him, no, we've seen 0 birds. Just kidding.
No,
that's fantastic.
No, I didn't tell him, oh, no, we saw no birds. There's no birds here. Go away.
People do that. But that is, and if that guy had a positive experience and then shot birds, like that is the kind of positivity, like I think that goes further and far beyond the reaches of any social media bullshit. Like that is the best exemplar of being a good hunter in our community, lifting others up, like above your own needs. Like if that person had a little kid with them, of course you'd point in the right direction. Why wouldn't you treat them the same way if they didn't have as long as they weren't a dick?
I knew these were going to be good guys right away. We pulled up and I saw a my tag, my hunt sticker, and I was like, yep. All right. Somebody knows what's up.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the Okayest Fisher sticker on that same truck. So,
are you going to that icebreaker that they have this weekend?
I'm hoping the ice is safe. Yes, me and my friend will be attending that if the ice is safe.
Yeah, I know Greg and Matt and a couple of the guys who were at our buddy Eric Tasker's house the other night. We're planning on going out, but in talking with a couple buddies, I mean, even Bo, my buddy Ghost Buck Hunting, go check it out on YouTube. We're supposed to go up and do the annual Pelican Lake fishing at the end of February. And today we were talking. He's like, I don't even think it's going to be possible. The ice is just
it's not been good
crapping
at
out
all
everywhere. I mean, this warm weather, that snow on top, it's all slush and mush and nasty. I hope you guys can get out this weekend, Bryce, but I don't know, man. It's going to be wet.
Yeah, I was just up in Vilas County ice fishing. I took a little weekend getaway, and there was about 4 inches of slush on top of the ice all the way up there in Vilas.
Ooh. Yeah.
So I don't know if Oshkonog's going to be or anything like that, but
yeah. Well, hey, I hope we.
I think that.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, okay. I think it is our job as people who hunt public land to, yes, it might suck if you see other people at your spot, but I think we need to remember that this is public land and this is money that our tax dollars go to pay for us to keep and people to maintain it and stuff like that. And that the more people on the land, the more revenue the state gets from people buying the tags to hunt the public land, buying, camping spots on the public land, because I hunt the Jackson County State Forest, where you got to pay to camp on the land. The more money that goes into that, the better it's going to be, and the more people are going to see, hey, this is still a hobby that is still around that we need to keep putting money into and not letting it die out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a perpetual problem. Like it could perpetuate its own demise and be a self-fulfilling prophecy of some sort. If it were to continue to circle the drain, it might just continue to circle the drain. But if we can kind of reinvigorate some things here, and I think, based on our mission, like the head shouldn't be biting the neck off, or the neck shouldn't be biting the head off. Like if we're all on the same team here, treating each other fairly and kindly, like that's kind of solving a bit of a problem from within and perpetuating goodness, I think. But Bryce, thanks for the call, man, and glad you got to run into some of these guys. I wasn't there that day.
Hopefully we bump into you again, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be hunting that land either Sunday or something like that, chasing some rabbits.
Awesome. Good luck to you. I won't be out there, but good luck to you, man.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye, Bryce.
Got, I know this guy. Will Bowen, one of our
hey
content creators for the editorial. How you doing, Will?
How's it going, guys? I can't believe it's taken me this long to call in.
I'm glad we got you.
To do that.
I'm glad we got you, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. I was listening live, and I heard y'all talking about public land, and I was like, oh, my God, that's basically my life, especially here in the next few months coming turkey season. So,
yeah,
where y'all are doing a great job and a great job of talking about it. So I'm excited to see what y'all got going on.
And where are you out of? Is it Arkansas?
I'm from Arkansas originally, but I live in southeast Missouri now. But I go back and forth all the time. So I hunt Arkansas just as much as Missouri.
Okay, so I wasn't completely wrong.
You weren't too far off.
Talk about what's it like down there?
Believe it or not, I hold a lifetime license in Arkansas, even though I live in Missouri. So I'm technically a hunting resident of 2 states. So I lucked out on that before I moved.
Why not? That's great.
Yeah, hell yeah, way to do it, man.
I know. But no, I hunt public land in Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, hopefully Wisconsin in the next couple of years. I've been trying to bounce around and go see some different places, and pretty well public land has been the only reason that I've been able to do that efficiently and cost effectively. So,
well, when you come up here, we'll feed you bourbon and bring you on the radio here. We'll get you in the studio when you come to Wisconsin.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come up. You'll just have to kind of point me in the direction of some public land toms.
Hey, happy to do so. I will be the first to share, but I would say I'd be the last person you want to get spots from. So I take, it's a little, I'll give you my spots. And you're like, oh, cool. I'm getting from the Okayest Hunter. Woohoo. But tell me, like, so I don't know how long you've been listening, but like, we're talking about public land as we know it from the our proximity of being from Wisconsin. I know Derek's hunted Illinois and such, but what about down by you? Does that narrative play out similarly down south where you're at?
Absolutely. And like I said, I hunt public land in 2 different states pretty consistently, and I've been on both extremes. I've lived in northeast Arkansas, where a big piece of public ground might be 5,000 or 6,000 acres, and it might be shared for 2 counties worth of people. So, it's busy pretty well all the time. There are no secret spots. Weekday hunting is what gets you by. And then I've lived in Missouri the last couple of years, where I live amongst the Mark Twain National Forest. We have hundreds of thousands of acres, kind of sparse population throughout part of the state. And, I might go out on October 4th, which might be a Tuesday, and have 5,000 acres to myself bow hunting. So I've been on both ends. Now, turkey hunting, there's people everywhere all the time. So that's just how that goes.
Is your turkey season a more condensed season? Like you get just a limited amount of time, so everybody kind of hits the woods at the same time, or how do you guys do it in Missouri?
Yeah, absolutely. So Arkansas and Missouri both mirror each other's seasons. I think this year it comes in on Monday the 15th and then goes out sometime around the first weekend in May, maybe the second weekend. I haven't looked at it that close, but both states are about the same. You get 3 weekends, 2 to 3 full weeks, and like I said, that's when everybody takes off, so everybody's hitting the woods hard.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, and that's in most states I've hunted. Like I said, I've hunted turkeys in 4 different states and pretty well all public land. And if you're fortunate to go out west or something where the states stay open longer, like till the end of May, or places like Michigan where they stay open into the first week of June, you might be able to get away from pressure because people are tired of having their butt kicked all season. But then you might also run into a little extra. You might run into extra pressure because that's the only thing still open. So that's where people are flocking to. But no, it's pretty well been a universal experience everywhere I've been.
So we're kind of talking about how our, Department of Natural Resources, or how our state, or, our lawmakers are also, helping and handling the demand for public land. And maybe that's one thing that Wisconsin, maybe we're doing that right with our turkey season. We've got
Very
6
staggered.
different seasons, each a week long, comes in on a Wednesday, goes out on a Tuesday. So it kind of spreads out. I mean, as much as you want to think about it, spreads out pressure over 6 different week-long periods. So there's still guys, but there's, less people, which I think that's probably better than having 2 or 3 weekends where everybody is trying to get it done. I mean, that's got to be very difficult, I'd imagine. That's probably why the hunting public guys are sleeping in their truck at 3:30 at the spot, trying to claim the spot,
The last 2 turkeys I've killed in Missouri were both on public land, and they were both opening morning birds, and I was parked at my spot at 4:30, 4:15, 4 a.m., and then had to sit there and watch person after person turn around because they're driving in and seeing my truck. So that's something I experienced a lot. And just because you got there 2 hours before they did doesn't necessarily turn everybody around. It's their right just as much as yours. And I try to be as non-confrontational as possible. And there is a way to work those things out.
Yeah,
but it can be kind of frustrating, as you could imagine.
Turkey is one of those things where I think a lot of people go
I will never bash our Department of Conservation either, but there's things I wish every state could probably do a little bit better, and Missouri's one that has had such a historically high turkey population, and I wish they would do a few other things, either shorten the season, go to lottery draw, something to protect our birds and game here. I mean, we got deer like crazy. I mean, I'm not worried about them, but turkey hunting on public land and just in the state in general, it's kind of struggling. So, I mean, I wish there was something else we could do as hunters to make that a better reality for everybody.
Go talk to Paul, the host of the Turkey Season podcast on our network. He's one of the folks over at NWTF. I don't know if I've ever met someone that cares more about turkeys than that guy.
He is devoted.
It's like
very devoted man.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard any of the shows he's put out yet, but it's pretty cool stuff. Very interesting. Turkey's a whole nother thing. I know a lot of guys will go before work, and a lot of times they're like, I already killed a bird, I'm going into work. Like, I think you've done that.
I got to be at school at 10 after 7, and I think I've killed 6 of my last 7 birds before work.
That's crazy. And the one I got bright and early too.
Go ahead, Will.
I've actually chosen the job I have in my career path because of hunting and having a flexible schedule. So I can go in at 9 or 10 during turkey season, and I can take off at 2 or 3 during deer season. So, I mean, I've pretty well built my life around being able to get out there and hunt.
Cheers to that, sir.
Yeah, bud. Way to go. hell of a writer too. You've been pumping out a lot of good articles for us. Appreciate you staying on and being a contributor for us. It's really nice. We got a number of folks who work within the freelance, writing community, but I think we work with you probably the most, or at least the most consistently.
I've got a lot to write about and a lot of stuff to air out. Hopefully, all of it's good.
Yeah, I do it over a microphone with a bottle of bourbon. If I start putting pen to paper, it doesn't make by the time the thought gets to my fingertips, it's all messed up. Like I don't write like I speak. I start to add colorful words that don't make sense. I wouldn't otherwise say because I'm like, well, I'm writing now. I should use adjectives.
I like to write because you get to edit it. You can't edit, spoken thought.
This is true.
We are aware of that one. We're aware of that every Tuesday.
We're live.
We're reminded very abruptly.
I never look back.
Yeah, there might be some things said at the end of the podcast that should have been edited, beforehand. But a few drinks kind of stopped that.
Yeah. Are we still live? Oh shit!
Oh,
the mic's hot. The mic's hot.
Oh,
that's funny. Well, thanks for the call, man. It's good to hear another alternative perspective from a different part of the country on the topic.
Absolutely. Y'all keep up the good work, and I hope to hear from you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot, brother. Have a good night.
Y'all.
The other thing that's happening, so another guy I talked with at the at Shot, who I've known for a number of years now. He was a guest when we were back in the Where to Hunt days. Nick DeCastro, who runs a company called Land Trust. Land Trust is an interesting name for the company because it's actually a term you use when there's a land trust.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that's the name of the company is interesting, but it's essentially like a day lease where he's getting public access from private landowners that are monetizing that access through recreation, primarily, hunting. So if I go to landtrust.com or renttohunt.com or Private Acre or Outdoor Access, or there's so many of these companies. There's a bunch of them. There really are. Each kind of speak to their own geographic market. So like Rent to Hunt is a Wisconsin-based company. I don't know if they're still around or not. A lot of these companies had a hard time with their business model because of insurance, because the company has to carry insurance to cover the landowner and the recreator. And a lot of insurance policies change their legal stuff, and then it kind of effed those companies out of their business. They couldn't actually run it then. And I think there's some nuances that I'm not a lawyer. I just know about this stuff because the app had me playing very closely with a lot of those companies because we flirted with an acquisition to one of those types of companies. And that's a really cool thing because if you can't afford a full-on lease, maybe you open up one of these apps or web apps or whatever, and you find, there's a property, 10 miles away. For $100, I can go hunt it this week, and I will be the only person on that property. And bonus, it's normally private property, and you can almost stake claim to that for a whole season if you want to shell out $1,000, which is probably still cheaper than a full-on lease for a 40-acre or something like that.
Yeah, depending on the property.
If it looks good, and a lot of times they're just like an Airbnb or a Vrbo or whatever. They're trying to find ways to promote their property. Like, we offer this, we accommodate that, we have warm towel. I don't know, whatever the hell, right? They'll upsell. So they'll actually, but we have trail cams.
Towel.
Here's
Sign me up.
here's the pictures of the bucks that are on my property. Here's the sheds I found this season. And they're promoting it. So there's a lot of, the Spartan Forwards, the OnXs and the HuntWise and the Hunt Stand and all these platforms that have created those digital plot books, so to speak, that have mitigated our ability to access public land to some degree. It's made it a lot easier. You don't have to go to the library to get a plat book to the county. Good if you wanted to. Unnecessary. Is it necessary? No.
Is that necessary? No, but I like it.
But so then you have this other technology that just pops up. It's people are constantly trying to use technology to solve our problems. I mean, I'm trying to do something similar. I don't know if the app that we're building is gonna work at all. I fundamentally believe it will, but I'm one dude with one perspective. So I've yet to have someone challenge me in a way that makes me not believe that it'll work in some way. I think it's going to be a relief valve and help disperse people, much like the turkey season disperses people.
I think the app that you're talking about is probably now more prevalent than ever. You know what I mean?
I think
more prevalent now, more needed now, more desired now than it was in 2014.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
I think it was a little too early for my time.
You were just an innovator, and you were just thinking, did you plan COVID? Was that part of your ploy to get this?
If we could have launched then, we could have
the public land, yeah.
It's hard, dude. App development's a total pain in the ass. And if you don't have a good revenue model, like, good fucking luck. It's just not going to work because you can't self-sustain. I mean, unless maybe you have deep enough pockets, but I didn't to sustain the economics of that. That's why it died on the vine. So the next one has some things that can make it profitable and
something like that, right, is going to pay big dividends to smaller areas, more densely populated areas with smaller pieces of public. Anything around here, that's going to make a world of difference. And then, like, we were just talking to Will, and Will was talking about, like, Mark Twain National Forest, hundreds of thousands of acres. Well, Wisconsin, we're blessed. We got a lot of public land.
We do.
And where we grew up hunting, right, like northern Wisconsin, north of Highway 64, we have national forests with tens of thousands and thousands of acres. And as we were just talking about before this podcast, there's a new bill that has
Go ahead if you want to.
Well, no, I'd love to tee it up for you because you were the one who brought it up. New bill that had been proposed.
A new bill had been proposed to ban doe hunting in the northern hemisphere of Wisconsin. You can look at the actual list of counties.
I think it's like 20 plus counties.
Yeah. And it's for 4 years they want to do it. 4 years, no does, because the population up there is sucking wind so bad. And there's a number of factors. Severe winters, which the northern part of the state will have a severe winter, and the southern part will have a low to moderate.
Totally different.
Wolves are a big issue. Bears are a really big issue. Coyotes are an issue. Things that are eating up these fawns, like they're not making it through winters. It's harsh. So I think that is one tool in the toolbox to help. I'm fearful that it would just stay that way. Or like, well, can we take the same? It's like, if I could cancel paying my mortgage for the next year, if I didn't then also take that money to pay down debt or do something else productive with it, I wouldn't be totally capitalizing. So, like, if we're going to shut down doe hunting, then let's also go kill some fucking canines.
Yeah.
Like, it should be both things because we're in a severe scenario. Let's double up on our efforts to do something good here rather than just deploy one thing. But they did say in the bill that this is a temporary plan until we get a full strategic plan in place. But I don't know what that full strategic plan is, and it hasn't been proposed.
The full strategic plan would definitely have to take into account, like you said, all the predatory species and how to manage all those predatory species. Like we were talking about bear populations. Our bear population's very high.
35,000 or something like that, I think.
Yet in our zone B of our bear zones here in Wisconsin, a good buddy of mine, Josh, just drew his tag 12 years to get the tag, right? And this is another way to disperse, the amount of hunters in 1 year. It's not open to the general public. You got to pay and generate points. Man, if that's part of the problem, if that's the main root of the problem, we got to loosen those up a little bit. Like we have to manage those resources. It's a shame that the northern half of our state is home to the vast majority of public land in Wisconsin, yet the population of deer is so down that we have to talk about eliminating opportunities for the general public for 4 years to try to somehow reinvigorate the population, the hunting. Like that's a damn shame. And like we gotta figure that out. If the DNR, if the biology department doesn't have a plan, we gotta be working on that. And I'm sure they are. But like this is important. We've got to figure this out.
And I don't know if the bill will get passed or not. I don't know how likely it is that it will.
Yeah, it hasn't passed. It's just been proposed.
There's going to be a lot of visceral opinions of people that are either closest or far from or think they have an opinion. Then don't even get me started on people that are like, I think some of the comments on the news articles I was seeing getting posted on social were like, don't you hunters eat enough? Maybe we shouldn't be killing anything. And I'm like, shut up, Karen. Like, get out of here. So I don't know how, because like those people are invited to go to those same hearings as well. They're part of the population of the public that pays for the taxes. Like you're going to be up against those yahoos just as much as you are the ones that are like, Yahoo! I'm not for this. I am for this. There's going to be a lot of opinions floating around and it's going to get weird for a minute. It always does. I've been to just like even local municipality meetings for like punching through a street in our neighborhood and it was fucking cuckoo.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm like,
they come out of the woodwork.
Dude, I mean, like, you're my neighbor? What's
out of the woodwork?
Wild. And so this will do something similar. I'm sure of it. And I would not want to be in that room. Maybe I would be, but
everybody's got opinions, right?
You're allowed to have them. It's okay.
On this or that, and how we should manage this and that. But
hopefully they have a larger picture to present at this to be like, yes, we're doing this as a stopgap. Meanwhile, we're formulating other plans that we're going to have to be able to present in the next year. So 2 years in, we'll have a better, more robust plan. And some of those things may include, predation and so forth. Like
they're going to have to come up with wildlife biologists have to come up with something that's, scientifically sound, that's going to work, that's strategic, but like from the average person's viewpoint, right? I know plenty of people who hunt up there. I've hunted up there.
You have range up there.
And the population is definitely down. Like deer numbers, the further north you go, the worse it gets.
By like 30%.
And that's even the deer kill has been dropped like 28%.
That's what I mean. Sorry. The kill
which is huge. Unbelievable. Over a quarter. That's wild. But like just driving up there in the last 10 years, I would say, any little town, like the deer are concentrated around town. And a lot of people are saying, it's due to, bird feeders and food sources, which could very possibly be. But it's also where predators don't want to be, is in people's backyards, right? Like bears bears like bird feeders and stuff, wolves, like the deer are seeking refuge, I think, from the predators, right? They're birthing their fawns in people's yards behind the shed to try to keep them away from the things that are doing them harm, which right now, to people who live at the house, it's the damn bear out there who's smelling in the spring and going and eating a whole bunch of fawns.
Yep,
that's just my unscientific.
No, I think that's a
observation.
Interesting. I like that. One of the questions that came through, and you might know this. I don't know it. And if Greg were here, he probably would know. Was there any limit on doe tags in that area?
Yes. So they've been limited. I mean, they have a certain quota that they put out, and each unit, like a couple of years ago, they broke down the state into, it used to be by county, then they broke them up by like management units. So there would be like a northern forest in one county, but like the southern half had ag land. So that was like southern farmland zone. So they've tried to like break it up in a way that they can manage the population more efficiently, which is great. And that's a good idea. And I think they've given out, it's not been a ton. It's not unlimited. Like each person got one. Some of the counties maybe had like 3,500 antlerless tags that they gave out. How many of those are getting filled are obviously down 28%.
Okay.
But yeah, they weren't crazy high numbers. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know that these counties aren't giving out tons and tons of antlerless tags.
This next comment I can't take seriously.
It's a doozy.
Viagra laced deer food drop from plains equals more deer. I don't think Viagra would have the same effect on a deer as it would a male human.
One way to find out, Clark.
I wouldn't want to see a bunch of deer run around boners. That's a nightmare waiting to happen. Levi Carey, it's sanctuary from hunting pressure too. Yeah, as you were just saying. I think
sanctuary from
that's a really interesting
hunting from all sorts of.
Yeah. Coyotes, wolves, bears. I mean, there's mountain lions, but they're not that prevalent. I think they're around, but
like
there's more bears than anything else. But the wolves, their territories are large. Like a pack of wolves was at 12. We got 1,000. We got 1,035 wolves in the state, from what I've read. I think that number is fair. I mean, I don't know if it's accurate, but divide that by 12. How many packs is that in that northern hemisphere? And 12 is an average. I'm making up a number. Like I just know packs can range from 8 to 12 to 20. They're very familia. It's their family.
Yeah, I like that. Mi familia.
Vin Diesel is a wolf. Family.
Man, and there's just, that's a whole can of worms.
But I miss hunting up north a lot. I miss the vastness of it, just the tranquility of it. I miss the fact that there are wolves and bears up there, that you're not alone. You're not the apex out there. That feeling gets into your bones in a different way. I talked about this when I had Zach Hanson with the Okayest Trapper, how like being in those types of scenarios, it flips a different switch in your brain.
It scratches a different itch.
It totally
maybe
does.
You didn't know.
And just hunting down here, like, which is fine. Like I'm not here, and I'm like, I'm gonna sleep on the ground. Don't matter. Nothing's gonna get me down here. Like maybe I'll get attacked by a vicious otter, which is a thing. But like, there's no deer up there. So I appreciate that we're taking steps to solve the problem. But what is the big picture? And also, when we considered the app and the public land dispersion and things of that nature, if they had a plentiful population up there, we wouldn't have as much crowding down this part of the state.
No.
Now, this is a more populous part of the state of Wisconsin. There are more people living outside of the suburbs of Madison and Milwaukee than up north. You have Green Bay and Appleton, but you continue to go up north and it just gets more rural. So at least for gun hunting season, it would make a big difference. I think a lot of people have rehomed themselves.
A lot of people used to go
and now
north, right? Like, and that's kind of when the deer camps slowly started to fade away. The populations went down. So now it's like, why am I driving 3.5, 4 hours to go up there to not see a deer over the next 9 days?
And if you're a meat hunter and you can't kill does for the next 4 years and you're not seeing shit anyways, now you got to hope on a prayer that you're going to see a buck?
Yeah. So for anyone who's strictly a firearm hunter,
guess what's going to do the southern units?
And guess what that's going to do? I mean, this
economics, it's whack-a-mole.
But the economics, right? Like, if they don't have a good snowmobile season, all those little mom and pop shops and restaurants and bars and this and that, like, that's
the business owners are going to have something to say about it too. Like,
it's a big thing.
What's going to happen to all the bush and ham sales that happen?
Dude, after Labor Day,
it's a ghost town.
Stuff slows down until hunting season. It's a tough thing. There's a lot of different moving parts. It's complex like it always is.
Yep.
But there's definitely an issue that needs to be looked at. And hopefully somebody with some kind of degree that's way more educated than we are.
If they're going to close down shop on does, then like let's open up shop on the wolves.
Yeah, if we can just transfer like the interest, the hunting capability.
Because then you'll still get hunters up there for a different reason. You'll still have license tags for wolves. You still have, not in the droves of deer camp would bring, but I think it could offset a little bit of it. And then, make hay while the sun's shining. Like, can't go kill does. Well, now I can go kill wolves.
Yeah, and if wolves are not the problem, if the problem's the coyote population is real high, or open up a bounty on some coyotes. Let's go.
I always thought it would be interesting to chat out over time the amount of hunting license sales versus accessible public land. I feel like that's something that is balanced at the DNR, right? It has to be.
The what?
The balance between how many licenses are sold versus how much public land there is to access. Like, I think it would be something like how many hunters per square foot, given license sales against the amount of public land that is huntable.
If you could differentiate what license was being used on public versus private.
And you can, because you have to purchase.
For antlerless tags.
Okay.
You can purchase, actually, your antlerless tags. It
tells you what are you going to, what tells you what you take.
And that's always the other management issue is like a lot of the highest populations in the state are on private lands, which you have
your pull up your Sport and Forge. My phone's on TikTok over there. Let's see if hopefully you got on there and it's updated. I want to check something. So, and I showed up my computer screen, but that would take too long. They have a feature that will give you something. I don't know who the Facebook user is that commented here, but it'll tell you something similar to that. Like, this is how much public land that state has. This is how many hunters bought licenses. And so we could maybe do, I mean, you don't want me doing the math if anyone knows me, but someone could probably run some sort of equation here to figure out what that looks like. I might be able to just log in on my computer and share my screen. That'll be easier for all the other people in the audience. Log in. If I know my login information off the top of my head.
Hold on, we're going here.
Looks like I might. Oh.
No.
Log in. I might beat you.
You're going to beat me.
I'll win, bitch. I don't know if I know how to do it on the.
Just did the old classic iPhone revamp, and my phone doesn't revamp down here.
So I have it open.
Sorry, I failed you all.
That's okay. So I wanted to see. I don't want to zoom in too much here, people. Holy cow! There is. I just don't know. I can do it on my phone. I don't know if I can do it on here or not.
We were talking before about using, different apps about like checking for public land and then making sure it's accessible to hunting. I would say don't be afraid to like reach out to these municipalities or public, whatever they are, like townships, counties, and ask, because I was in a situation earlier this fall where I was preparing for a hunt, and I emailed a small municipality about some publicly owned land and asked if it was open for archery hunting.
Yep.
And they said no, but that's being proposed to open this up. So email back in a couple months because next season it may be open. And I was like, dang, if it's the first season that it's open, I sure would like to be one of the first people to get on there and do a little hunting.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because that's gonna be a dynamite spot. So no, I'm not gonna tell you what property that was, so get out of here, because that's for me to know and you to find out. But never hurts to ask.
I can't. There might be a way to do this on the
on your phone?
On your phone, there might be a way to do it on the computer, but I can't figure it out right now. But there is a way to do it on the phone. So if you're in there on your phone and you're looking at a certain property, it'll tell you all those stats for that state. It'll tell you this many license tags were sold.
I've seen that before.
I just don't know how to get to it on the computer. I was hoping I could figure it out real quick to answer that question. But another reason, I guess, to go use Spartan Forge and check it out and make sure you're using it on your phone for that purpose. Otherwise, the computers. They also have this thing where you can do 2 screens on 1 screen now. So if you want to look at different layers at the same time,
like your aerial and your topo?
Yeah. So now you can see it side by side rather than trying to I don't know.
Have Google Maps open all the time with your mapping applications.
Yeah. Pretty neat. Special interest groups can help with predators by offering bounties themselves and not relying on DNR. Like what? Like, do you have any of those here?
I don't know about special interest groups, but there are they don't offer bounties, but we have plenty of tournaments, predator tournaments. Just like we have rabbit tournaments here in Wisconsin. There's plenty of places up north that have coyote tournaments, and I mean it raises some negativity just as much as it does help with stuff because people don't like that because that's killing for killing, right? Like that's not. It seems different to people who aren't in that realm, and I totally get that. I totally get where they're coming from. It just seems wow, look at all these guys going out. They're drinking beer. It's at a bar. Like these guys are just drunken hunters. They're going out there killing everything. Yeah. And it's tough. It's a tough one.
Foundation for Wildlife Management reimburses wolf hunting expenses in the Rocky Mountain West. A number of local municipalities are opening hunting access on a lottery system by which hunters can use nuisance tags issued to the town or city. So yeah, there's so many cool things. Like we talked about the Waukesha Land Conservancy. We talked about those apps that exist. There's more things than that. And also like the DNR has MFL, VPA, voluntary public access, managed forest law, crop damage tags. There are a lot of different ways. You can get a little creative here. You got to do some exploration research in your own state, township area, so forth to figure out what we have. A lot of county parks and state parks open up hunting and have different regulations. We have a state park with guns.
A lot of that's lottery or sign in or get drawn for a special
Anytime there's a lottery or draw, I personally enjoy it because it's less hunters on one property that have that public access. So at least you've mitigated yourself from the masses.
And you're already anything that's difficult that you're like, I don't want to do that. No one else wants to do it either. Right. So those are the properties that typically are that's a way to, like you just said.
There used to be a draw system on a state park. They've changed how they did it. They had to have a special park permit pass. And I would bring all my buddies into this place of business where I worked because there's a lot of computers there. And I'd set everyone up at a workstation. And it was like buying a Taylor Swift concert ticket.
Bye.
And then it didn't work for some people because it was that fast. They sold out in 7 seconds. 7 seconds.
It's like me waiting for my bonus turkey tags.
It was crazy. And so if you didn't get it, you weren't coming to hunting camp because it's well, guess Dad ain't coming this year.
Better luck next year, bud.
That actually happened. My dad didn't come one year because he didn't get the draw.
Shit.
It was like son of a bitch. I was like, oh no, he didn't get it. And everyone's like, what are we gonna do? Chuck's not gonna be there. I was like, I don't know. We're going. We got it. We gotta go. And he didn't go 1 year. It was crazy. But that was cool because I think they only allowed 60. It was 60, then 80, then 120, and now it's open season there. But I don't know that everyone even knows it because they had this special park permit pass in place. And still, they only allow hunting. Bow hunting opens up only the 7 days preceding the gun opener. So it's like a virgin property and it's a state park. So a lot of hikers and stuff. So the deer are just a little bit different there. You can get away with a little bit more.
I think
so. Stuff like that is cool.
The key word there was
public hunting.
Not everybody knows it. Right. And that's not just to that's dangerous. Because I've been on properties before that are have some sort of special stipulation. All of a sudden it's shit. Can I be hunting here? And you know what I mean? There's a lot of instances where you just got to be careful.
A lot of people get really protective of property too. There's a lot of non-hunters that are hey, you're not supposed to be here. And it's yeah, I can be here. And oh, so you did check the thing. They'll just come out guns blazing telling you can't until you tell them you can. And oh, well, yeah, you can. I just was going to tell you couldn't. But I've seen people on public land put up, if there's a gate or a chain to enter, they'll close it. The hunters will close it to make it seem as though it's off limits. They'll put up knockdown signs. Dude, I've seen some sketchy shit in the name of trying to like
I've seen guys
prohibit others from accessing it.
Yes, I've seen guys on MFL, which is open, MFL open property
Yep.
here in Wisconsin, managed forest law land.
Mhm.
I've seen guys who don't own the property and are accessing, hunting it publicly, put up no trespassing signs on the entrance. That's like marked on the map.
Yep.
Like enter property
I've
here,
seen that
and they've
stuff
like
too.
just no trespassing signs so that they can be the only ones to hunt it.
That is
That's where
unscrupulous.
ego and greed
Yep.
have no place.
Like if you find yourself walking down that path, like you must know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Just don't do that.
No. Anywho, public land, it is a resource, one that honestly, someone argue with me if I say the word it's a privilege, and they're like, well, it's like my God-given right, but there's so much buying up of land that this might become a rich man's thing. Like what goes on in Europe, you can't hunt anywhere unless you have private land, right? Is that how it works? You want to go hunt a freaking red stag? Good luck. Where are you going to do that?
Yep.
Private land, ranches, things of that nature. People keep buying up land, which is fine. You're entitled to buy land. You work hard. You earn enough money. I want to buy land, but like, then there's these leases. How much of it is public? How much can stay public? I feel like we have enough protection on some like the national forest, but I don't know where I'm going with this.
The public land down here does change quite often.
A lot of it's like developed quickly.
I've only been down here for 4 years, and I've been on properties, hunted properties that are no longer public, that are no longer open to hunting. Like a number of properties that have changed.
Was it for real estate development, or what was it? Why did they change?
MFLs that have gone in, that have gone out, that have been taken out of the program, voluntary public access stuff that's been taken in and out. There's been some that are like, your conservancy properties, those change hands.
Mm-hmm.
Which ones are open to public year to year changes. So
yeah.
It's a privilege. But you do your homework, because you don't want to be the guy who did something wrong, not thinking you did something wrong. And just be careful.
On the upside of that, I've always appreciated public land. Like I really do appreciate it. And if I run on hunters, which I have several times, I've just talked about it. Like I don't mind that much. It's kind of like, oh, damn it, and that's about as far as it goes for me.
Yeah.
And then I move on. And usually I find something cooler, better, more fun, different, and I enjoy my time. Like exploring public land is never a time poorly spent.
You know what would help people let go of their spot on public land? Getting rid of trail cameras on public land. Did I just say that? Wait, what?
You have how many?
Eliminating trail cameras on public land? All for it.
Do you think that helps them lay claim to it?
Yeah. As soon as you have a camera and you have a deer on that camera, mentally, that's the deer you're going after. That spot.
Well, you
found that spot.
I would never hunt a spot that's hung, or I would never hunt someone's trail cam, because I just think they're going to show up.
Yeah.
But I bet you some others probably will be like, I'll hunt this.
Public
I don't know. I just wonder. And I don't know. There is etiquette there, right? Like, don't hunt it. So then the etiquette of claiming stands. So if you got rid of the trail cam, then it wouldn't be.
So a guy has 30 trail cameras. Is every one of those spots his?
No, it shouldn't.
No, it's not. It's public land. Mm-hmm. I think get him out of there. No, public land, you don't need it.
Interesting.
Go back to hunting. And I love trail cameras.
I know you do.
I think it would just alleviate all tensions. People would be friendlier. It'd be just.
It's like it would. If the decision was made for you, the stress would go out the window, and you'd almost be a bit relieved.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, guess I can't use them anymore.
As much as
now I'm gonna worry about that as a stressor. Interesting. Hunter Nation Wolf War Hunter Nation Info Session Armory, Wisconsin, January 31st and Antigo February 1st. Jared, I'm not exactly sure what that is. If there's a link you have, put that in the comments.
I wonder if that's like a county deer advisory meeting or something.
Someone took a shit under my trail cam in public this year. I let him have the spot. I've now laid my own claim. That poop is mine. This is now my spot.
Did I ever tell you?
That's hilarious.
Did I ever tell you about the dog shit blind?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, I had to have.
I'm pretty sure you had. Refresh my
Up in the Nicolay National Forest the week before gun season, my mom and I went out scouting for her. She was going to come hunting with me. I was probably 16.
Yep.
Took her out. I had a spot I was going to hunt, take my climber. She does not like going in the air. So we took some dead logs on the edge of the cedar swamp. We built her a little, little fort, whatever, piled some logs up, put a little chair in there. So in the morning, attacked it for her so she could get in. About 10 o'clock. No, it was earlier than that. 8 o'clock opening morning. I think I saw her walking a little bit. And like I got down out of my tree stand and I wanted to go talk to her. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, well, I just can't be by it. Something's wrong with that blind. I was like, okay. So I go walking over there and she had moved her chair and she was sitting like 20 yards from the blind. And here someone had brought in a 5-gallon bucket of dog shit and spread it, taking the time to spread dog shit over all the logs of our blind. And they had pinned a note to the tree that said, I know it was you that stole my tree stand. Enjoy your day in this. Enjoy your shitty day or something. And here was my little old mom.
What a bold claim to just assume.
4'10", Karen Melkor, happiest person ever, and full of dog shit. So somebody really was upset and took a lot of time and effort.
Wrong person, pal.
To walk in and put dog shit all over her blind. It was really something. I was like, this is pretty impressive.
That's disgusting. And weird.
What it would take to get somebody to do that.
I mean, you have to be so disgruntled to. Have you ever heard of the $2 holler?
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah, you told me about this.
Camping once, and two buddies
at the campsite, right?
We're in like a mob walking from the bar back to the campsite, or one or the other. I don't know. And walk past these cabins. Like a lot of people rent the cabins at the party. We had a big old group camping site, and two of my buddies, Mike and Jeremy, like start bumping into each other and racing towards the spot on the road. And what the hell's going on? And it was like a $20 bill or $5 bill or something like that, enough to incentivize them to pick it up. So they're like, they both see this, they both run towards it. And I think it was Jeremy picks up, he's like, oh yeah, oh, what the fuck? And he's like, the shit is that? And so we're all pretty confused about what had even happened. It happened pretty quick. Like, so you ran for money, you picked it up, you threw it, something's happened. Out bursts out of this cabin like a group of 15 dudes. $2 holler! They were going around sticking dog shit on dollar bills and 20s and trying to get people to pick up dog shit bills. So then we were like, that's pretty funny. Let's do that too. By the end of the camping trip, there was so much money spread around this campsite, no one would touch a single dollar of like any monetary denomination. What's it? Denomination or whatever of bill, because we're like, it's probably got dog shit on it. There must have been like $100+ or $200 worth of dog shit money around that campsite. And everyone, you just hear people popping off different parts of the camp going, $2 holler!
Need a good money launderer. Take care of that.
That reminds me. That story reminds me. That's probably when I told you the same damn story. Yeah, missed most of the show. What do you guys think about the no dough for fun? So, Nicholas, we talked about that for a little bit there. You're going to want to go back and listen in podcast land. Not for sure thing yet, but there, yeah, we did discuss it a little bit. We had laid down some sort of opinion on it, but I don't know. Is public land disappearing? Are people happy? Are they not? I love public land. I probably always will, just because it means a lot to me.
I don't know. It's just, I have to public land.
It's so fun to explore. Some properties are pretty vast.
Yeah, I think you said it best when you were like, when you came and hunted that property that I took you out on, where I saw Bryce earlier this season. Yeah. And it's like, man, I think that the only reason I like this, because it probably just reminds me of up north. It's just the only vast stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you can trudge along for a long time. It's really hard to pick up sign on that and make sense of it. And I was like, I'm over my skis on this property trying to kill a big buck.
Speaking of over your ski, I took the skis out on that property. That was a mistake.
Oh yeah, what'd you do? The boot thing.
I went late season hunting, and there was so much damn snow here. There's a pile of snow. I don't know how much you guys had around here.
You cross country skied to your spot.
I've cross country skied late season before into spots. It works great. I don't have snowshoes. Snowshoes seem to be more work anyway, because you got to raise it up, and my hips just get so tired. Yeah. And I had the spot I wanted to go. Of course, I'm an idiot, so it's pretty far. So I cross country ski. I got a big backpack with my saddle stuff in it, my outdoor clothes, my warm clothes. And I ski back in there. Everything's going pretty good. I jumped some deer on the way. I'm like, oh, it's good. There's some deer in here. Late season, it's always good to have some deer. Otherwise, they're either there or they're not. So I'm pretty excited, and all the trees here, you guys had like a wetter snow in the beginning. So all the trees are kind of bent over with the heavy snow, and they're like iced to the ground. So the woods I wanted to go into, I couldn't even get in because all the trees, I'm on my skis. I can't get through there. So I'm like trying to navigate through this brushy stuff, and I tipped over, and it's deep snow. So I tipped over. So I'm like trying to push yourself up. You're pushing down through 14, 16 inches of snow. I get myself back up, brush myself off. My skis have sunk down in the snow. I'm like, I can go to this other spot. So I start skiing, and I'm trying to turn my right ski. I can't control it. cross-country skis clip in the front of your boot to the ski. Your heel comes up so you can glide. But, like, I'm not on a trail. I'm trying to fucking go through the powder. And I can't get my ski to go up. I can't get it to go right or left. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Like, lift my foot up out of the snow. Feels loose, but everything looks okay. Well, the sole of my freaking cross-country ski boot, where the clip is attached to this, has ripped completely off. From when I fell, the ski must have been flat. My boot rips off, and I have like gaiters on, to keep the snow out of my pants. And the strap that goes around the bottom of my boot is the only thing holding my damn boot
Oh my god!
to the ski. So I'm like, well, this is not going to work. So I pulled a gear tie, one of those orange gear ties.
Yeah, those are great.
Put it around the toe of my boot, and ended up skiing to another spot and going hunting anyway. The bottom of my boot fell completely off. I lost it in the snow, so I hiked it back.
Oh my gosh!
Saw $3.
Hey, there you go.
That was a good hunt.
Yeah, it's an Okayest hunter move for sure.
Just terrible.
Anytime you can make a hunt march thing like through modality of like biking, skiing, canoeing, it just adds to the adventure.
It's just fun.
I love it. That's a cool story, man. Even though it's a total goofball thing, what are you gonna do? You can't control that.
Totally.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks for coming in the studio this week. It's glad to have you back here. And I know it'll be a minute before I get you back in again. But hopefully Greg will be back next week. I don't actually know. I don't
remember what his schedule is for next week.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for the calls, folks, and have a good night. We'll catch you next week.
Yeah, see you later.